Good afternoon, everybody. Good afternoon. Good afternoon.
Hey,
Please turn on your camera. Okay, so this is a session where welcome to AI Camp again. Turn on your camera. I see so many familiar faces. Welcome back to AI Camp. Yeah. So again, turn on your camera. All right. You know the drill. You learned with AI Camp before. You know how it is. Yeah. Awesome. Thank you, guys. How is everybody doing? Haven't seen you for a while. How is everybody doing? You doing okay? Yeah. How's the quarter? I guess it's like yeah, you just finished the quarter, right? So or maybe it's like a spring break, I guess, you know. Yeah. Awesome. Welcome back. Welcome back. Okay. I see so many familiar faces. Yeah. Catherine, I definitely recognize you. Jace, I definitely recognize you. I think I taught you sometime before. Yeah, for the AI sandbox. That's awesome. Yeah. Odin also, welcome again. Yeah, good to see you guys. All right. Okay. So anyone who's interested or excited about the guided internship program in the summer? You guys excited about it? If you are, can you raise your hand maybe? I'm excited about it, okay. And today, we also have a few companies here that's gonna help us. Hold on. Yeah, we have a few companies here today. Also, we're gonna pitch about their ideas as well. Actually, we have 3 to 4 companies here today. We have these companies pitch to you guys about ideas. AI can be included. Okay, we have a product we want you to build as well. Okay, all right. Let me just try to understand my audience a little bit. So, how many of you here joined AI Camp in the summer, like before? Raise your hand if you were our student and joined with us before. Raise your hand. Wow. Okay, that's okay. Wow, that's a lot of people. Okay, great, awesome. Like lower your hand, lower your hand, lower your hand. Okay, lower your hand. Okay, great. The other question I have for you. Um, how many of you actually like really enjoyed the summer camp with the AI camp? Like you learned a lot, you enjoyed it. Raise your hand if you do that. Okay. Wow. That's a lot as well. Okay, awesome. Great. Awesome. Great to see that. That makes us happy. Okay. Thank you for so much for doing that. All right, I'm gonna share my screen and let me know if you can see it. Can you see the screen? Give me a thumbs up if you can see the screen. Awesome. Thank you. All right. So I mean, first of all, let me just say congratulations, right, for your progress at AI Camp, right? I think some of you already made an AI product with us. Some of you, learn about, maybe AI sandbox, how to use AI effectively. But I hope it was eye-opening for you, right? Like creating an AI product. I guess I want to invite maybe one person or maybe 2 people to talk about what's the most memorable thing, for you in the summer, right? Like last year. Yeah. Anyone want to take a stab at it? You can raise your hand, all right? And then I can call your name, okay? Anyone who's turned on your camera, you have an advantage because you can just like do this, okay? Anyone want to give it a try? Shahil, you want to give it a try?
Yeah, so I actually did like the summer program with you guys, and
Mhm.
like we were all talking about before, like I really enjoyed it as well. And I did learn a lot of things. Like I learned about like Jupyter notebooks, training, like how to properly make data sets, like how to filter through data sets,
Mhm.
what are the actual ways of creating data sets and what are bad ways of creating data sets. Like all those like basic things I kind of learned, and then over time I took that to like better increase my knowledge about AI as a whole.
That's awesome. That's awesome. Great. Let's give Sahil a round of applause. Great job learning those knowledge. Keep on learning. That's what we want to see. That's awesome. Anyone else? I wanted to have another, I don't know, like a female student. We had a lot of guys here. Kosi, you want to talk about it? You raise your hand. Yeah.
Yeah, I did this a couple years ago in 2021.
Right.
Um, when I built the Tweet Mimic device, that was my first introduction to Python. So that was really new for me. And it was kind of a stepping stone for me. I've done so much since then. So I really
Mm,
appreciated that as well. And then also just web development. I
mm,
learned a lot from the lead on my team, and I got a lot of advice and just like mentorship from the lead on my team.
Wow.
So that was just something that I really took away from the program.
That's so awesome to hear. Let's give Kelsey a round of applause. Thank you for speaking about your experience. And guys, also today with me, Goku is here. Goku is one of our instructor, and he's also working for AI Camp as a data scientist right now. How about we just give our leads, our instructors a round of applause. Thank you so much for spending your time, for teaching for us, right? For advocating for our career. That's awesome. Thank you so much. All right, so I'm going to continue, okay? And obviously, also I want to thank everyone who write a review about us. We have received like so many warm review from you guys. Really thank you from the bottom of my heart. This helps a lot. And obviously, you guys were in our Discord channel, and you know how we, for example, asking you guys for your feedback every single day, right? Whether it's a 10, whether it's a 7, we take every single review seriously. That's how we continuously to improve our program, okay? And you know what? AI Camp, Kelsey, if you join like 2021, AI Camp has been evolving. We have 3 different programs now, right? That is AI Foundations, which is the beginner, program. Introduce you how to use AI in a proper way. AI Bootcamp, I think this is most of you actually went through this program, right? Which is making AI products, right? You literally dive into the whole kind of making AI product, and you're working with 5 other peers of making something together, right? I hope what you learn is not only the hard skills, right? But also how you're going to learn, right? Remember, our goal here is for you to get rid of us, right? Because we want you to learn more on your own. And we also talked about it is really, a team sport, right? Creating a company, creating a product, it takes 5 or 6 people coming together to build it. So how do you work with people? How do you communicate? These are really, really important. Now, the guided internship, that's the one you are hearing for the information session today. This is our most advanced program, right? This is where you actually start working with company projects in the summer. But it's guided in the sense that you're going to have a mentor, just like what you have in an AI bootcamp, right? Where you're going to have a mentor leading you through it, okay? Our programs are special in the sense that we're taking this approach where we're bringing all the relevant industry knowledge to middle and high school students. And it's really because you guys surprised us in the beginning. When we were a tiny startup, we're still tiny, we hired a few of our students to making software with us. And we were so surprised they were able to do so, which is why we started thinking about, hey, maybe other companies can also benefit from your contribution. That's where the guided internship come from, okay? Any questions so far? Am I doing okay? Am I doing okay? I'm a little bit sick today, so I'm not 100%. I hope you're okay, okay? I hope you're okay with me. All right, so what is this guided internship program about, right? So this program is that you're gonna build an AI product with a real company, right? That's the number one thing. Just like, for example, in the AI bootcamp program, you are essentially building an AI product. This is something where, well, now everything is really matters, right? Everything it matters in the sense that these are companies that depend on you to create something that's great, right? So now you need to basically work with these companies. The other thing is you're going to receive expert guidance and mentorship in the sense that I'll talk more about it, but I guess it's like maybe I can ask you guys a question. Maybe you understand it. If you think about the technical differences between things you created in the AI bootcamp, right, which is a hackathon project almost, and then to something that people in the industry, they need to use. Do you guys know what the difference between those two? Open question, okay? You can raise your hand and talk about it, right? What's the difference between like something that's like professional grade versus what you create in summer? What's the difference? Christopher? Chris, I guess? Chris Shaw?
Yeah, I think that the main difference is that like if you want to make a professional grade, well, first off, it has to meet what the clients want rather than more of just like something that either follows a prompt or what you want to do, right?
That's right. Yeah, yeah. That's a great answer, right? Figuring out, right, what the clients actually want to build is really, really important. Right? Great. Awesome. Okay. John?
So one is a proof of concept that you do to sort of experiment with your knowledge and test your strengths. And the other is something that you're being paid to do and something that a company relies on you to make correctly and effectively.
Mm-hmm. All right. So let me just clear first. Companies are not going to pay you right now. Okay. But you're making something that company needs to, make use of. So this means that the quality needs to be higher, right? The code you write needs to be cleaner. There would be, like, for example, test within the code, right? There will be documentations, right? Being a professional versus being a student, is vastly different, right? In terms of like the code quality. Okay. Anything else, guys? Anything else? What about the learning style? Anyone else want to address that? How would a professional learn? How would a student learn? Rex, you raise your hand.
Yep, this is much more like on the field now. It's before it's you could be like learning more theory, you could be like
Mm-hmm.
you could be like going through things like isolated from everything else. Now this is like real world application.
Mm-hmm. That's right. So when you're making a real world application, right, your learning could be actually quite unstructured, right? You need to learn something that's like, you know what, this client actually wanted us to make a iPhone app. Now I need to learn how to make an iPhone app, for example, and that may not be in the curriculum itself. Okay, but all in all, when you think about the guided internship program, center around becoming a professional. And for example, at AICAM True Style, we're just gonna throw you into the deepest water, teach you how to swim, and hope you to become a professional swimmer. I don't know whether you're gonna be successful or not, but it will be very exciting. Okay. And this is something where I think there's a huge gap between our schools and our industries. These are the stuff I wish every university would teach. Okay, I'm gonna highlight a lot more now. And okay, look, we've been doing this for the past 3 or 4 years now. I want to give a credit to Alex Duffy, who started the program, the guided internship program in the beginning. And our students had went on and worked for so many different companies. For example, Notable Health that raised hundreds of millions of dollars. We're using AI to automate healthcare. Sprouts.ai, our students create something that you can type in natural language, and it's going to generate SQL commands based on a database schema. We have a venture capital firm called a Fusion Fund, and they wanted to basically scan the top-notch AI research papers, summarize them, and so that they will know who they should invest. Our students went on to great universities, such as Stanford, Princeton, right? But I think what's really, really important here today, guys, we should look beyond these logos. We should think about, okay, what is the future, that's going to unfold in front of us, and how can we be ready for that, right? And I think it's really, really important that once you go through the guided internship program, I hope next time I ask you, hey, what did I learn from the guided internship program? You ain't gonna tell me, oh, it's because this algorithm, oh, this language. These things, they do change. I hope what you're gonna walk out of it is like, I learned actually, just like who said that again? You need to figure out, what the company actually runs. I think Chris said that. You need to really figure out how to communicate. You really need to figure out how to learn, right? Those are the things that's going to benefit you, for life. And I'm going to illustrate that a lot more. And so these students, for example, so this is Alex right here. So he went on and become, he's studying at UC San Diego right now for computer science. And he helped AI Camp to create this project called Hippo 2, which is basically a student management system. And this system here has generated a few $1 million, a few $1 million. We have Samuel. He's at Princeton right now, study computer science. And when he was at AI Camp, he went through not only the guided internship program, eventually actually he worked at AI Camp as instructor and being a lead as well. And I hope that be like Samuel. Yeah. Okay. All right. I'm going to go on and talk a little bit more about why this program is really, really needed, I think, for you. So we already talked about, for example, right? If you think about your life right now, you're in high school, or maybe you're in college, but in a few years, you're either going to choose a major or you're going to choose a job that's going to set your career in a certain direction. So I think it's really important to figure out what the jobs are like, what skills to learn, and how do you build a network. And by going through an internship like such, right, you're basically going to learn, well, I'm actually in this internship. I'm going to do this job. I'm going to build my data to figure out what it's like to be in this job. I'm going to learn all these skills when it's needed, and therefore I will figure this out as well. So this whole experience here is really to give you the data for you to make an informed decision. Does it make sense? Right? To collect the data to make decisions. I guess I don't want to scare people, but you do know student debt is a huge problem, right? Education has been getting more and more expensive. You need to also figure out, do I want to get it through these, programs? Do I have to take on these debt? Is there any other way I can reduce the amount of tuition? Is there any way that I can make sense? For example, this much investment? What are the possible ways for me to, I don't know, like learning these things while not spending this much money, right? So one student I want to highlight, her name is Beatrice. I don't know if you can see here, but she's right here. She's sitting right here, right? She's one of our best students ever at AI Camp. I would say her communication is probably second to none at AI Camp. And she did not go to, for example, a very expensive university. Okay, she did not do that. Instead, she went to a state university in California. But then she packed her resume with experiences that are, I would say, even for like someone who graduated from college, they can't even dream of. So take a look at this. Bernice. Not Beatrice, Bernice. So this is Bernice. So she's in Cal Poly. She worked at AI Camp with our web engineering team. So she designed essentially, right, our product that made a few $1 million. She worked at Google. She was a lead technology office, HeartInMotion. She was an undergrad AI ML student researcher. She's at this hedge fund as data analyst intern. What do you guys think? Is this an impressive resume? Right? Do you think she has her future gradually figured out? Right? So I encourage you, right? There are numerous ways to, I don't know, to make a living, to have a fulfilled life, to chase your dream, right? And I want to encourage you, right? Think beyond, for example, these logos. These logos, they are important. If you can get those logos, right? But there's more than that, okay? And I hope, the guided internship program can be one of them. I mean, it's going to help you getting those logos too. All right, I'm going to highlight a few things. And this might be a little bit controversial, but I want to talk about, a bit about high school students versus industry professionals. We already talked about, the products you're going to build is going to be different. What about the learning habits here? what do you guys do every day at school? It's basically a grade oriented, structured, learning more about fundamentals. There's nothing wrong with it, guys. There's nothing wrong with it. You need those fundamentals, right? But once you get to become a professional, what happens is that your learning is very targeted. You have certain things you need to accomplish. Maybe you don't know everything around that, but you need to figure out all sorts of different materials out there to learn about these things, right? And your job is to solve those problems. So today we actually have a company called Peanut Robotics. Ashish, he is the CEO. He's in the audience right now. I think I wanted to invite Ashish to talk about the projects that Peanut Robotics has to offer, and based on what he said, we can then figure out what are the things we need to learn. Okay, all right. Ashish, are you there?
Yeah, I'm here. Hey.
Hey, great to have you, dude. Good to have you.
Yeah, of course. Thank you for inviting me. So
Oh, no.
firstly, it's great to meet everyone. I think what AI Camp is doing is fantastic. A lot of what I've had to learn, especially over the past few years with everything happening in AI, a lot of it's been independently trying to find resources. And I think it's really cool that, all you guys are taking the initiative to learn about this stuff and, get a jump start on working on some of the real difficult problems in such an exciting space.
Yeah, awesome. Can you talk a little bit about what your company does?
Yeah, of course. So I put together just a few quick slides, so nothing super fancy. I think you guys can see my screen. Whoops, I want to hit share on it, slideshow. Okay, so we are Peanut Robotics, and my name is Ashish. I'm one of the co-founders of Peanut. I'm not the CEO, but I am the CTO. Our CEO is Joe. Hopefully, at one point, you guys will get to meet him. So some background on what we do. So we build robots. We build and deploy robots. And our robot is a mobile manipulator, which basically means it can move around with a base and it has an arm to kind of manipulate stuff around it. And what we've chosen as a first application is commercial cleaning. So if you think about hospitals or gyms or hotels, we've gone and done trials with sort of all those customers. We've done a lot with hotels in particular. And right now, we're looking to leverage AI and LLMs to basically make our robot smarter and more adaptable. So to give you sort of a better sense, I'll just show you a little bit of stuff on our website. And our URL is just peanutrobotics.com. So if you guys want to go check this out too. So you'll sort of see just like a landing video of our robot doing some stuff in a few different locations. Basically, this is the robot here. The way it works is that it has the ability to scrub and wipe things down, as well as spray it with different kinds of chemicals. We've been developing this since 2018. And what we have and what we're really proud of is this robot that is ideal for a variety of different spaces and does a really good job of cleaning at a low cost. Okay, so just to get back into sort of a little bit of how it works today. So there's kind of 3 large steps. So one, we'll train a specific bathroom or area. Some of that is in simulation, and some of that is in person. And the output of this is sort of a fixed set of steps that we know gets the job done. So for instance, we might spray the toilet, then the sink, then scrub the toilet, then change the pad, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. And that worked really well if you think about a hotel, because there's maybe about 4 different types of rooms, but maybe like 100 of each of those types. So if you train it once, you can sort of reuse that, and there's a really good payback on that process. So we go ahead and we come up with those steps, and then we release Peanut to sort of just go clean those rooms. And that's been working pretty well. But what we're interested in doing is sort of evolving the product and taking it to the next level, where instead of doing one fixed specific task it was trained for, it's able to do a variety of ambiguous tasks that are sort of given to it real time in natural language. Right? So someone could be in a cafeteria and sort of say, hey, clean all the tables on that side, right? what does all the tables mean? What does that side mean? Or, go wipe the spill in aisle 7. Where is aisle 7? What kind of spill? And the idea is, how can we combine all the advancements that are happening with large language models, visual language models, to enable robots to do this kind of activity? And a lot of different companies, especially in the news, you'll see are working on some really complicated and difficult problems. A lot of humanoid robots. NVIDIA is doing a whole bunch of stuff. And part of what our strategy is what's getting released, whether it's models on Hugging Face or if it's just APIs from Anthropic or OpenAI. That stuff is capable today, as some of you guys might know, to be able to sort of generate reasonable plans to do something. Right? You can go to ChatGPT and ask for a pretty good itinerary for how to spend a weekend in Paris. That same idea can be applied to, hey, how would a robot go ahead and clean up the spill on aisle 7? So what we want to do is combine this flexible planning enabled by LLMs, vision language models, and connect it to sort of our reliable actions that the robot can do. Spraying, wiping, changing the pads, navigating, and grasping. And with this, we'll be able to generate these new plans sort of real time and on the fly, and that's going to allow us to do these applications. Okay, so just to talk a little bit about some of what we've done so far. And this is a newer project for us, so we're still very much in kind of like the prototyping and development phase, and there's a lot of different aspects about it. But a lot of the work that we're doing right now is we're starting off in simulation with sort of the idea of a generic robot being able to pick stuff up. The particular simulator we're using is something called Mijoku. It's released by Google DeepMind, and it's a physics simulation where you can have a robot doing a variety of things. Our stack right now is we've been playing a lot with a variety of different open source models. Some of we've also been using a few paid for APIs as well. And our tooling is pretty flexible, and we have a couple different scenarios lined up to just try a few example tasks. So just to talk about a few potential projects and sort of the different aspects of this. So if we think back to the idea of, go wipe up the spill in aisle 7, right? That sort of requires the robot to have some knowledge of where are things in the world. And some of you might be familiar with the idea of a standard vector database where you have a document and you connect it to embeddings. What we're proposing, and has been done by a few other groups, is basically doing that same idea, but connecting pictures or camera views to embeddings, but mapping that to a 3D space. So for instance, if the task is like, go get me a can of Coke, then perhaps during a mapping phase, the robot will have an idea of like, oh, there was a fridge over in this area. And then we can use this to sort of semantically search the world in 3D. 2, when we're coming up with sort of a long horizon plan for the robot, so something that requires a lot of steps, depending on the model and sort of, how you go about it, it might not be able to generate the best end-to-end plan. So what we'd like to experiment around with is, using chain of thought reasoning, tree of thought reasoning, and setting up some experiments to do that and sort of seeing how that performs in our examples. And then another project that we're considering is, in terms of the stack of how do you get the best output from your LLMs, the first level is definitely prompt engineering, where you really try to get it to, through giving it effectively as much context as you can to get the output or the kind of output you want. But the next step is definitely thinking about fine tuning and how we can set up those pipelines to help for robotic planning specifically. So those are a few of the project ideas. As we go further, I'm sure we'll refine that and think a little bit more specifically. But there's a lot of stuff to work on here. Our goal is first prototype something, get it working in simulation, and then we're going to take that same engine and apply it to our real robot to enable those applications I was talking about earlier. Okay, so that's kind of the overview. But happy to answer any questions, and really great to meet you guys.
Well, can we give Ashish a round of applause? Thank you for walking us through this whole thing, right? I have a couple questions actually for the audience, right? For our students. Number one, are you excited about this project? I see a lot of you nodding heads. Okay. Well, second question is, I want you to type into the chat for those 3 projects. You can pick either one of them, right? You're gonna be like, actually, Ashish, can you go back to
Yeah,
the
of
slides on the 3 projects?
Yeah. There we go.
So there's 3 things: vector database, right, for the 3D world. There's a wizarding engine. There's a fine tuning for large language model output. I'm gonna ask you guys a question, like, I mean, by looking at those projects, do you know how to implement them then? To what percentage do you know? Is it 100%? I know exactly what to do. Or it's like 10%, I have no idea. 50% somewhat idea. What do you think? I have a point to make, okay? So and then connect it back to my slides. Just type in the chat, what's the percentage of the things you may know for any of these projects? Let's be honest, okay? Just type in the chat. It could be like, Mike, this whole thing is really vague. Yeah. I don't know what the project requires. Okay. I don't know the techniques. Okay, right? So typing a percentage. All right. Okay. Never mind, probably 7%. All right, 50%, 20%, 10%, 0%. Where's Andrea? I like that. I like that 0%. All right. Okay. All right. Ashish, please stop sharing screen. Let me share my screen.
Sure, of course.
Thank you. Thank you so much again. Ashish, you're welcome to stay here to answer some of the questions people have. Up to you. But I'm definitely thank you very much for doing so. Yeah. I guess, guys, what I'm trying to get to here is that, okay, when you look at, for example, are we excited? Yes, we're excited about it. But do you know how to deal with this? No, we have no idea, right? And it has to do with a couple of things, right? I mean, number one is basically let's face it, company is going to give you a bunch of projects, but it's incredibly vague what they're trying to achieve, right? So we really need to figure out from the communication and collaboration perspective, how do we actually get to a really crystal cleared, kind of vision of the things that we need to work on, right? And the other thing I'm going to try to get here is that, think about the learning stuff, right? What Ashish talked about, it's pretty much the most cutting edge, of the AI applications. No one knows everything just yet, right? But being this as a guide internship, we have essentially all these materials, these large language model applications, whatnot, to teach you how to, deal with this. But still, right, there is, still like they're part of it that's unknown. You're gonna have to use a variety of different, tools and resources out there to figure this out, right? So which is why you can see this program is kind of like in between a real workplace and school, right? Because it's like in the morning, you're gonna learn a bunch of stuff. We're gonna teach you in a kind of lecture kind of setting, right? Handhold you, help you to getting through those fundamentals, right? But then in the afternoon, that's gonna be a wild, wild west, right? Then it's like you need to figure out what kind of project I'm gonna build. Oh, how should I go learn about it? Where should I go learn about it? Those are things you need to get a graduate accustomed to, right? And then once you go to the field, working as a professional, well, then you're going to be like, yeah, that's what I expected. That's fine. Do you guys see that? Right? So I hope that, by, Ashish presenting, these projects, right? First of all, it's really, really exciting, right? I think, if we can figure this out, that has enormous implications for the world, right? And if you think about it, it's like, contextualize 3-dimensional space. That's like huge, right? Be able to use the LLM to reason, to break down steps. That's huge, right? To fine tune large language models. I mean, that's pretty much like AI 101, right? That's going to be something really, really needed in the future, right? Awesome. I probably don't want to spend too much time on this slide, but you guys know, for example, at AI Camp, this is not about your individual performance. It's really about the team performance, right? So how do you work together as a group, right? How do you use all sorts of different skills to collaborate, to communicate? These are the things that we need to learn. About conflict resolution, this is something where I only learned when I was like in my 30s, and I felt it's too late, right? It's really, really important to understand when you work with a team, there are different opinions. How do you actually resolve the conflict? Those are the things, we're going to teach you. Okay. So when you think about it, right, this is really a blend of classroom and real world situations where we're going to teach you all these technical skills for you to be successful to accomplish these projects. But at the same time, professional skills for you to be able to communicate, for you to be able to work with others, for you to be able to, really distill down what this project is about and how can we, make something that's truly, profound and impressive. Okay. All right, let's talk about logistics, right? Let's talk about logistics. So, by the way, I'm just going to call different people and they have different projects, right? So, but logistics wise, it's 6 students per instructor. Very simple, right? 6 students per instructor. And you're going to make an AI, product in a team setting. That's always the same, right? For our programs. Again, it's going to be engaging and convenient, just like what we're doing here, right? And you only need a webcam, a good internet, you focus, you know the drill. You've been here before, okay? So in the morning, it's 10 a.m. to 12 p.m., okay? Engage with the lectures and hands-on sessions and build a fundamental knowledge. It's guided, right? But in the afternoon, that's where the team-based project kicks in. That's where you communicate with the company to figure out, what you should build, right? That's where you start building the prototype, prove this is going to work, and that's where you're gradually going to handle the work off by creating documentations, tests, whatnot, so that the companies can make use of the things that you created. Okay. I have another surprise here. So this is something where, I don't know, should I pitch this? Maybe I should pitch this. Okay. When you are engaging lectures and hands-on sessions in the morning, this is where actually you're going to start learning things with the AI. Okay, I'm pitching about AI Camp product right now. That is, AI Camp has an AI co-teacher that will teach you step by step with a human instructor. Okay, so how it goes is that in the morning, for example, I'm an instructor. I'd be like, hey, today we're going to learn about prompt engineering. Okay, and then what I'm going to do is, okay, you guys going to go ahead and learning with our AI called Nova. And Nova is going to guide you through one-on-one setting step by step. And then when we come back and we say, hey, okay, guys, we learned about prompt engineering. Let's discuss what we learned so far. So I want to ask you, this is a combination, right, of using AI and human together to teach. Why do we want to do this? Why not? For example, Michael can teach everything about prompt engineering. Why not? Why do we need the AI here? What do you think? You can raise your hand. I can call your name. Okay. Ivan?
Using an AI might be faster, or it could know certain minute details that the instructor might leave out, and it can also work one-on-one. You could have multiple sessions of the AI running at the same time.
That's right. Okay, can we give Ivan a round of applause? Right? It's an obvious thing, right? It's an obvious thing. You think about this, even though I do have a PhD from Stanford, I'm constantly learning new things, but I can never be more knowledgeable than AI. AI read all the books. AI read all the code, right? Maybe AI doesn't really comprehend the whole thing, but you know what? On the surface, it does look like so. It does understand. The second thing is there is only one Michael. I can, for example, be with you 24/7. I cannot watch it over your shoulder in a, non-emotional kind of way, 24/7. But AI can, right? If I can say, hey guys, let's learn prompt engineering, you go ahead and learn it. And you know what? Prompt engineering or any other field, you're essentially navigating in a knowledge web. And these knowledge web, they're different knowledge points, right? And when you think about it, you know, when I, for example, teaching prompt engineering, I'm just walking through one path of this giant web. But what if you have a question? Can you ask and I can answer right away in a group setting? You can't, right? But with the AI one-on-one, you can't ask that, right? So then maybe it's not, for example, you're learning from A to B to C to D in the knowledge graph, in the knowledge path that I drew it for you. And you would learn essentially in a way that, I don't know, maybe from A1 to C5, right? You know, however you see fit. And maybe this AI will explain things in a way that it's personalized to you. Maybe you'll play some video games. Maybe you have some hobbies. Maybe you watch some TV shows. Maybe you have some favorite movie star. I don't know. And this AI is going to explain things in such a way that that's personalized to you. And maybe it's going to generating videos of your favorite movie star explain to you what deep learning is to you. Wouldn't that be fancy? Wouldn't that be cool? Anyone want to build this? I mean, we already have a prototype. Anyone want to build this? Raise your hand if you want to build this. Okay, we got quite a few people. Great. Tell you what, here's the thing, right? For AI Camp Nova, not only are you going to become a user, but you will build it as well. Okay, that's my pitch. That's my pitch. Okay, all right, cool. Awesome. Okay, so admission, right? Very simple. So we have limited capacity. Okay, hold on. There's another thing I want to, so just to be fair, okay, do you guys see there's a 3 blue, 1 brown here? Do you guys know what a 3 blue, 1 brown is? Some of you are nodding your heads. Catherine, what is 3 blue, 1 brown?
It's like a YouTube channel.
It's a YouTube channel, right? It's a YouTube channel. Santosha, are you there?
Yes.
All right. Can you tell people what 3 blue, 1 brown is, or what are you doing with them?
Would you like me to share my slides?
Yes.
Okay. So I'm Santosh. I'm a former student here at AI Camp, and now I'm working with some other former students as well as a college student on this audio language translation project for AI Camp and for 3 Blue and Brown. And so here's some background. So we were contacted by 3 Blue and Brown, who is an educational YouTuber with over 6 million subscribers. And so we basically wanted to reach a wider audience by translating his audios to different languages. But dubbing to different languages can be really, really expensive and time consuming. And so we wanted us, AI Camp, to make a cost-effective and automated solution with AI. And so in this presentation, I'll be kind of walking you through how we did this. And so here's kind of a table of contents of all of our steps. And so first, we automatically scraped and collected audio data from all of 3 Blue and Brown's YouTube videos. So we developed this Python script that could go online through all of his YouTube videos and automatically download all the audio. And then using an AI developed by the creators of ChatGPT, which is OpenAI, this AI is called Whisper, we were able to transcribe all of these audios to text transcripts. And so with these transcripts, we then ran into an issue. So the biggest problem with dubbing is getting the translated audio to sync up with the original audio. So for example, Grant, who is 3 Blue and Brown, could be saying 1 and then 2 and then 3, but we don't want our AI to go really fast or go really slow. So in our case, sometimes the translated text would take a longer amount of time to speak than the original text. And so to solve this, we use ChatGPT to condense each utterance without losing any information. And so here you can see a prompt that we achieved after lots of experimentation. And so we can take this Bengali text and condense it using ChatGPT to have the same information and then also fit within the allotted time frame.
So wait, Santosh, actually slow down a little bit. Okay, so there's a couple things here, right? So guys, first of all, this is not just using a bunch of like large language models, right? This is like, you know, we have to write automated script for that to happen, right? Second is 3 Blue, 1 Brown. If you watch his video, it's very much like, you know, there's a lot of animation, right? You explain things in an animated way. So of course, it's like whatever you talked about, you know, should map to the content on the slide, right? But different language, even though the same meaning when it's spoken, it may last different time, right? So that's why it's like, how do we actually ensure translation is accurate? And how do we actually making sure we translate in such a way that it's going to match up to the original timestamp? Do you guys see that? So that's not a trivial problem to solve. That's not just calling Mantra API to solve. Yeah. All right. Go ahead. Yeah. Sorry.
Yeah, thanks. So we can take this improved transcript and then we pass it into some different text-to-speech AI. So we tested around like 7 cloud services, and we found these 2 to perform the best. So Azure was developed by Microsoft. It provides really fast and low-cost solutions, but gives a robotic output. And then 11 Labs is a slow but high-cost text-to-speech service that gives a realistic output. And so in the end, we went with Azure TTS to provide the most efficient solution for Grant to use. And I'll explain how we fix the issue of its robotic output later in these slides. And so now, as Michael mentioned, we have to sync the audio with the visuals that are shown on the screen. And so to do this, we put some pauses between each utterance to line up with the timestamps given in the transcript that our OpenAI model generated earlier. And then we also apply small speedups to ensure it fits within the given time. So for example, if our AI takes 5.5 seconds to say something and the YouTuber takes 5, we'll just speed up the audio by a small amount to account for this. And so finally, we can actually clone 3 Blue and Brown's voice. So with all the setup, so because we want with Azure TTS, we have to convert its robotic output to something more realistic, because otherwise these videos don't feel very human. They'll probably be less interactive and you might lose your attention. So we made a very large AI that can take an input audio and convert its speech to 3 Blue and Brown's voice. And so we trained it using a really heavily processed version of the audio we collected from 3 Blue and Brown's videos earlier in the slideshow. And so here's a demo of our work. So you can type this bit.ly link or scan this QR code, whichever one, and it'll redirect you to a YouTube link. And then in that, you can click on the settings button and change the track to Spanish. And you'll see we've developed this full pipeline that we can just put on this YouTube video and in Spanish. So I'll give you a few seconds to open that.
You probably want to share sound, otherwise people won't hear it.
Sorry.
Estas transformaciones en el caso de 2 dimensiones y cómo se relacionan con la idea de la multiplicación de vectores matriciales. En particular, quiero mostrarte una manera de pensar en la multiplicación de vectores de matrices que no dependa de la memorización. Para empezar, analicemos este término, transformación lineal. Transformación es esencialmente
Yeah, that's a little demo. You can watch the whole thing if you'd like. And we have future plans for this. So we're currently taking this voice translation and we're making it into a curriculum to teach this project to future AI camp students. And we also want to reach out to other YouTubers with this pipeline and see if they're interested in dubbing their videos to other languages. So yeah, that's what we built here at AI camp.
Thank you. Can we give Santosha a round of applause? Thank you so much for being so awesome. Okay, it's a great presentation. Who want to work on this project? I mean, it's 30, you basically auto translate 30 different languages using AI. Anyone want to work on that? Yeah, I see a few hands. Awesome, awesome. Okay, great. I see a few folks actually raise a hand for every single project. Okay, you guys need to be more decisive. Okay, you can't raise a hand for everything. All right. So we have actually a few mistakes on the slides, so bear with me. So the kind of interesting thing is that we have very limited seats, for this whole program, right? We already committed 23 seats because there are people who reserved this already, and we have over 200 graduates just competing for the remaining like 13 seats or so. We have 2 cohort. It's early July or from late July to August, right? And this thing is also goes, it's 3-week full time in the summer, right? And I'm just gonna send a link here. You can basically register afterwards, okay? Okay, all right. So we have one more project I want to show you, okay? So this is my friend. Yu. So he's an investor as well as a data scientist. He wanted to combine quantitative and qualitative signals to do investments. Okay, to do investments. So let's see how we're gonna do this. I'm gonna share my sound. Okay.
Hey guys, how's it going? This is Joe here. Sorry I cannot make it today because my kids are really into ski and I'm taking them to Tahoe on the weekend. But Michael told me that he has a bunch of brilliant students who are interested in solving some challenging problems. So I happen to have one. So I'm going to pitch you today and see if any of you are interested. And if so, I would love to work together with you. So maybe a bit more context. Michael and I are friends. We have known each other for like a decade. We used to play a lot of basketball back in Stanford campus. Right now, I'm starting my own investment advisor firm, which means I basically use others' capital and help them to invest. So give you a bit more story about what exactly do investors do. So put it very simply, investors basically try to find something that is cheap and buy them and hold them and hope that in the future, the price of the stock or the business or the assets you buy will increase in price. For example, this is a Google stock price in past 5 years. So investors try to use the history to understand whether or not the stock is relatively cheap compared to the business itself. So for example, if you bought Google stock in 2022, at the peak, it's about $150 a share. And now today, if you go back, which is in about April 2024, and Google stock price is still $150 a share, and you probably didn't find a good deal at the time. However, if in 2023, at the dip of the Google stocks, if you bought them below $100 a share, then now you have about 50% of increase. So the question is basically saying for an investor, whether or not you can use a history to try to understand whether or not the price of a stock or a company will increase. It doesn't have to be very accurately predict the price of the stock, but you can think in 2 years whether or not the stock will grow about 30%. If that is the case, that will be a pretty good results for investor to buy the stock and hold for 2-3 years. And how do investors exactly trying to predict the price of a given assets? Historically, there are generally two signals. One is very quantitative signals. You can think about all the financial statements that company publish and disclose. This includes income statements, balance sheet, and cash flows. I give one example for Google in my presentation. You can take a look. And traditionally, analyzing those signals is done by machine learning. And a well-known firm has been doing this, like Bridgewater, which is founded by Reed Alios. And you probably know he used machine learning techniques to analyze all those quantitative signals to try to predict whether or not a stock or a company is undervalued based on the stock price. And there is a separate school which they use very qualitative signals. They use all the unstructured text-heavy information, like the reports the company issued on a quarterly or annually basis. And I have an example of Google's related documents that you can click the link and you can see it. And the most well-known person is Warren Buffett, who analyzed all those documents and trying to understand if or not a company is undervalued or not. So here's my challenge to you. I think it will be a very interesting, challenging problem if we want to build a model that I call a unified approach, which combines both using the quantitative signal and the qualitative signal together and come together and trying to predict whether or not a stock or a company based on the stock price is undervalued compared to the future in about 2-3 years. This is hard because one is quantitative and one is qualitative, and you want to combine the results together. But I think with the development of large language models and machine learnings, that is something very promising and a challenge worth taking. Just a few thoughts about how would you, once you build a model, you can start from 1 to 5 companies and build your prototype and then expand it to 30 companies and 50 companies and 500 companies. But thinking about how do you measure success, I think there are 2 dimensions. One is how accurate your predictions are, like accuracy, and also consistency, whether or not they are consistently predictable if you apply to different companies, different industries, and even different time frame, like 5 years, 10 years, is that still generate very consistent and accurate results? You can always use backtesting to see how good those results are. And maybe a few thoughts about the challenges you may face when you solve this problem. One is, of course, data collections. Collecting those data, they are all publicly available, but maybe non-trivial sometimes. And also, I think the largest challenge will be how to combine the results of analyzing qualitative results and quantitative results together and put them into one output and show investors the results that you have. So this is my problem. If you're interested, feel free to let me know. Thank you.
A great presentation by Joe. So as you guys can see here, these are novel problems, right? And it's only enabled because now we have all these large language models that enables us to do these things. Whether it's like these translation, or using AI to teach, right? Or using AI to do investment, or using AI to do robotics or manipulating our physical world. These are the things where if you think about it, we just couldn't do it in the beginning, and now with large language models, we can, right? Okay, so anyone's interested in Joe's project for this investment stuff? Yeah, we see quite a few hands as well. See, again, I see some people just raise your hand again, just like you want to do every single project. Okay, your enthusiasm is appreciated. All right, cool, awesome. So with that, we're just gonna get into the Q&A now, right? So let us know what kind of questions you have, and I can answer. You can ask specific questions about this, camp, right? You can ask specific questions about, project, right? Up to you guys, okay? But when you do, raise your hand, right? Otherwise, yeah. See you in the summer, yeah. Jonathan?
So is this program like based on application and see who's best fit for this, or is it like first come, first serve in order to get into this
So
program?
we have limited seats. First come, first serve first. Yeah. And then like which project you're gonna do is gonna depends on, for example, your preference and where we see a fit. So we'll be assigned, but it's gonna take a approach where we're gonna ask you what's your preference. We're gonna have you first rank, some of the projects, and then we're gonna look at your ability and what everybody else is, looking for, and then we're gonna assign you for a project. Yeah. Great question. Thank you, Jonathan. All right, Shahil?
So like you were just saying, you wanted to see like what would be our best fit, what are our preferences? Like how are you guys going and determining like what's the best, like what kind of internship is the best fit for this person? Not just solely based upon their preferences, but even like what the company's preferences might be in like terms of like if the person's experienced or not.
Yeah, so we do a survey. So we'll give you a survey, you fill it, and then based on that, yeah. Okay. Any other questions? It's pretty exciting, right? To be able to do this, have all these companies that pitch into you about projects, and then you go ahead and pick one and you learn from it. I think this is the best thing in the world. I think it's really cool, Like if you're in robotics, if you're into finance, or into like using AI to interact with the people, right? Or it's like, you love YouTube, right? There's a lot of things here to do. What else?
Mike, you got one question in chat. Can you talk more about reaching out to YouTube influencers for the YouTube project?
Yeah, so that's something where we need to find all the influencers, right, to implement these projects. So probably like looking at some of the YouTube influencers, who are doing a great deal to the world, like really positive content, whatnot, right? We need to reach out to them and see if they would be interested, translating all their videos into 30+ languages. Yeah. Any other questions? Sahil, you have another one?
Yeah, just real quick. What is like the timeline that you're looking at for like the internship program, the guided internship program?
So this program is 3 weeks long, just like what you did in the summer, right? And because longer than that, it's very difficult for you to plan your days. You have 2 cohort, whether it's going to be in July or it's going to be late July. Yeah.
So what about like the timeline, like coming to approach like the actual program dates? Like do we like before the cohort times, do we actually talk with the company that we're going to work with, just like get an understanding? Or
that's right. So basically before the whole thing starts, you're going to fill a survey, we'll assign you a program. You guys go ahead and talk to the company, really figure out what you're going to build, right? That's essentially before the whole thing starts. One thing to start, then we already know what we want to build, right? And we're going to help you to get to that point. And then you're going to learn as much as you possibly can at the same time, build it. Yeah. Yeah, we're going to reserve some time also at the end, for you to deliver your project, right? Just so to speak, because it's not just building it, right? Because there are documentations and everything that needed. Okay, any other questions? Are you guys excited about the guided internship program? Yeah, I certainly am. What are the computer requirements? It's very simple. You only need like a laptop that has a camera, has a browser. Yeah, because chances are the stuff you do is going to be hosted online. How do we choose cohort for the internship? So once you click this link right here, right, you're gonna come to this page. You can choose a cohort right here. Pretty easy, right? They're just 2 cohorts. Put your name, put your email, choose this or this, add to cart, and then just go from there. Yeah, pretty simple. Any other questions? Look, guys, you enjoyed AI Camp before. I know you did. Right? Otherwise, you won't be here in this call, right? And I encourage you to really think hard about these projects and figure out which one you want to participate, right? Talk to your parents and then sign up ASAP. Yeah. Okay. I think that's it for today. Let's give a round of applause for Goku, who's helping us answering questions. Let's give a round of applause, for Ashish, for Santosh, for Joe, right? For myself, introducing, these companies for you. We may have more companies join, you guys. So don't worry, if you sign up and, like the spot is gone, don't worry. We'll come back to you with more companies. Okay. All right. So in the meantime, yeah, happy learning. I hope that you would, constantly come back to AI Camp, Discord. And by the way, if we make Nova, if Nova is successful, we're gonna have all sorts of courses for you to take through Nova, right? That would be really, really cool, So yeah. Right. Good to see you all. Talk to you soon. Bye-bye. Bye-bye.